Sorry about that. OBS just shit the bed on me. But yeah, thanks for the raid, Indie Maniac. I don't know why that happened, but that's the second time that the stream has come down tonight, so it's just one of those nights. Mornings, I guess. Hey, Taco Crepe, thanks for the resub. But I think it's working now. Are we working? Indie Maniacs first. Thanks for checking in, Indie Maniac. Everyone get your check-ins in. And your farts if you're Taco Crepe or Indie Maniac. Gotta get your shame points. But yeah, I was showing Taco Crepe Dot Age, and we've just been kind of playing that for a bit here. I did do some development stuff earlier. Indy got the rare SFX. Mega high. Thanks, Def Icarus. I appreciate that. Mega high is one of my favorites. But yeah, sorry about the stream crash. That sucks. I appreciate everyone who's hanging out. Sometimes these things happen, I suppose. Peek it, Rick. Oh, are we still? Is my category wrong now? Is that what you're saying? I was playing Peek earlier. Oh no, it's still software and game development now. Oh, you were in a stream now? Yeah. At around 9:30 my time, so I don't even know, 6 hours ago. Have I can't tell how long I've been streaming at this point because everything's crashed so many times. But yeah, we were playing Peak with like what, 5 or 6 people, and that was a lot of fun. It's almost 1 a.m. Yeah, it's like 3 here. Just got the notification. Rick, don't let your Steam Deck be dead next time we play. For some reason, it wasn't charging. It was plugged in, but it wasn't charging. And then I like had a hell of a time getting it to charge. It's charged now. Honestly, I could probably play the game on this computer as long as I like turn down all the specs. But even this game is kind of slow. Like you can see, just moving the cursor over things, it's like gets choppy. Computer's not what it used to be, especially when it comes to streaming and stuff. I'll be lurking. Well, thank you. I appreciate the lurk. What is that, a potato? It's actually a decent computer. It's just old now. It was a 2019 MSI with a 1660 Ti NVIDIA graphics card. So like it can do VR, but it can't stream and do VR very well. Like if I didn't have like ViaDoTube or any other things going on, if I like minimized my OBS stuff, then I could probably get it to work with VR. But even then, it would be iffy. Oh, you got the ad jump scares, sorry. Ads, wonderful. Yeah, sorry. Need more wood. How do we get wood? If we can't expand to the forest, how do we get wood? I think we need to not have this there. We're gonna blow that up. Or maybe we blow that up. We keep that. I know, we need it to blow up. We need it to be blown up. We've got a bunch of seeds. We'll be okay for a bit. There we go. Welcome back from the ads, if you're back. Sometimes I feel like the ads take a little bit longer. Peak isn't very optimized from what I've been seeing, but it goes up and down for CPU usage for me. At least was waiting to send this until ad was over. No worries, no worries. Yeah, sorry about the ads, everyone. But yeah, my computer, it's not terrible. It's just old. It was like 12 or it was like $2,500 when I got it. And it was on sale, so it was a little bit outdated when I already got it, right when I got it. But it was a 2019 MSI laptop with 1660 Ti NVIDIA graphics card. So it's not terrible, but yeah, it can do VR, but like very minimally. And like, not only would I have to turn down all the specs on the VR game, but I'd have to like not do all of what I'm doing with the Viado tube, and OBS would have to be like a lot more stripped down. But yeah, I don't know. Games have been getting more intense, and my computer's like not handling it so well anymore. Peak takes a good amount of my CPU, which is crazy. Yeah, it's not very well optimized. I was reading the patch notes, and there was this issue where like because there's like cannibalism now, right? Well, they had the chicken, because you turn into a chicken when you can like be eaten, right? Once your hunger gets to a certain point, other people start to look like chickens and you can eat them. But the developer said that they mistakenly put in the model and just told it not to be rendered instead of like deactivating it. And that's why there was some issues there. Thanks for checking in, Taco Crate. Appreciate that. And Westlow again. Yep, it's one of those days. The stream just is, you know, doing what it wants, whatever it wants. All right, so now we blew up that area. So maybe we can put like a log patch there and get some yeah. So now we can get trees. So that way we can expand at least, because we need to expand more than we need food. I mean, we need food, but like if we don't expand, we will die. And like right now we're eating 8 and gaining 8 and then getting 3 tomatoes too. So like we're still expanding. We can research now. Oh, I guess we can only build some, we can only choose so many things, huh? We can only choose one. We probably want the puddle. I thought you could do more than one at a time. Tips available for work. That's cool. Oh, we need that. But we don't have any wood yet. So there's nothing they can do. We made a mistake by putting the forager there before the wood. I mean, we do got seeds, which is nice. Are you sure? Yes. Alright, so now we've got the log pile, so we can get some wood. Well, I guess I could have assigned him there. I see. I see an unknown event coming upon us. The vision is confusing, but there is hope. We can fight it. So, unknown event arrives in 5 days. You can influence its outcome. Event level depends on the accumulated fear. Well, that person's already got fear, so that's not good. Oh, and we did have someone there. We can put the builder there to build the path. We've got quite a bit of food stockpiled, so that's nice. Oh, we completed the puzzle, or the puddle, the puzzle. So yeah, we want to make that. And we also want to build, this forager. We'll do that there. We need someone to take care of those tomatoes. Alright, you take care of those tomatoes. Or actually, you do that. And you take care of those tomatoes. Those berries aren't going anywhere. Oh, we don't have someone to do that. The thinking. You do the thinking. We got plenty of food. You do the thinking. Yeah. Someone's got to do the thinking around here. It ain't gonna be me. Not enough wood. We need more wood. So yeah, once you get like the flow of things, the game goes a lot faster. But since I haven't played in a couple of years, or in like a year and 6 months, I don't even know. I kind of forget the flow. It's kind of coming back to me though. We don't need the water. We need the seeds more than the water. And then we can also... A large bonfire. I think we want the pond though. So we'll put a pond there. And a fire there. And... stone. Alright, I think we're good. Oh, we want, if we can, we want to build. Can we not build? No worker available. Stop being that dude. And oh, not enough wood. All right, then never mind. We'll wait for the wood. We probably don't have enough wood for that either, huh? Nope. It looks like an event's going to occur. Uh-oh. What is that? What does that mean? Fear. I am scared. Uh-oh. That's scaring me. He's a criminal. He just stole 8 foods. But that's fine, we have a whole bunch. A food theft. The village loses 2 simple food. It looked like he took more than 2. That is evil. That emote is evil. Oh, there's a building near it. Alright, we need to get rid of that then. Gotta make babies. Is the game audio like super low? I can turn it up. I didn't think about that. That's probably a little bit better, huh? Alright, so we have enough wood for that. And we can build another thinking post somewhere where it's not like directly next to stuff. It says we have 2 free workers. That one's empty. Retasha. E-ta-ta-ta-ha. You can't kick pips out. No, I don't think you can. I could be wrong though. But they do die. Ai ta 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 ha. Not enough seeds. We need more seeds. What are you doing? Get those seeds. We have one that's not doing anything. Let's build another post, huh? We got tons of hemp. Oh, this person's not gathering seeds, they're gathering hemp. Uh-oh. More fear? Pips are panicking. Should I scold them? If we scold them, the village gains 4 hope, but also gains 4 fear. If we ignore it, the village gains 2 fear. We're gonna ignore it. Sucks to suck. Let's get some seeds. Looks like everyone's busy, huh? I can feel it in my bones. The next season is coming upon us. Get ready for it. Eat domain. That's why we got the puddle. Let's do that. There's a dugong in chat. I'll go make some coffee, so I'll BRB for a bit. Oh, that's right. It's like normal coffee time for you. I'm like, what are you doing making coffee at 3 in the morning? But yeah, it's not. It's like 3 in the afternoon for you. But yeah, enjoy your coffee. Hope it's good. Tasha. Yeah, I might end up napping if I don't. Yeah, no, I feel that. Wait, we've got wood. Or we've got stone. Nom 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 nom. Uh-oh. Summer's here. Gonna be hot. Oh, the season event's incoming tonight. Oh, there it is. Seasonal threat is set to 1+ year. Remove snowy from all terrains. Oh. Traits, nothing. Consequences, nothing. Okay, I'll take it. I feel like they balanced this game a lot since I've played it last. It's not as scary. I see an unknown event coming upon us. The vision is confusing, but there is hope. We can fight it. In 5 days, we get heat. Maybe we should build another thing. What do we got? More. We got a pond. Let's build a pond. Wait, did we just upgrade the village hall? I thought we were upgrading a house, a new house. $15 wood. No worker, huh? Honestly, I kind of want some caffeine too. My sleep schedule is just backwards now, and I'm going to try to stay awake until the bank opens at like 9 a.m. Because I was under the assumption that it opened at like 7 or 8, but no, it opens at 9. So like I need to like stay up a little bit longer than I did yesterday, because I was up at 9. Like I think I went to bed at like noon yesterday or whatever, and I could have like really pushed myself to go to the bank, but I would have looked like a drug addict probably, because I was up all night. So I feel like today I have to do it, and I'll be a little bit like further along, although I only got like 5 hours of sleep for some reason. But I woke up on my own. It's not like something woke me up. I don't know. Anyways, caffeine is probably something I should do. So yeah, I'm gonna take a little break and make some coffee. There's an ad break coming up, so coffee time or caffeine time. I don't actually have any coffee, but I've got caffeine. I'm gonna throw on some music and then I'll be back. Okay, we are back. Looks like there's a pip that needs to do something. What should it do? Only one. Maybe make the bonfire. So now there's 2 pips, and we need food. That's not good. One of those pips will go there. One of those pips over there, maybe. That one doesn't need to be there. We need... Let's not do that. Let's do that. That way no one's starving. Oh, it looks like the berries came back on that bush. But I do like this game. It reminds me a lot of this game Banished that I used to play a whole lot. That's a fun one too. It's like another village building game. But the turn-based part of this is really unique. And the roguelike aspect of it, where like random events occur. A lot of uniqueness in this game. Oh, we got that summer event. Not enough water. Uh-oh, that's not good. We're gonna need more water, I can tell already. There's a Dottler in chat. Alright, Boops, you're still awake. When's your bedtime? Or are you on the graveyard shift also? Oh, my music is still playing. Test my fate, huh? Oh no! Looks like it's hot. Probably very soon. Right on. Nah, I just never sleep. Oh no! Yeah, cause you like wake up earlier than me. Like I'll like as soon as I wake up, you'll already be streaming. And I'll like have a bunch of stuff that I need to take care of because I just woke up. So I can't usually check it out right away. building is destroyed. What building was destroyed? How do you put the chicken in? Oh, lure animal. There we go. I have a lot of seeds. And a lot of hemp. Beware! A doom event is coming soon. Prepare for it may be the end of the village. It might be. Hunting tent. There's nowhere where we can put this. My toaster. Izawa. What does the clearing do? You two, make a baby. You two men, make a baby. Did I ever change my category back to that age? Looks like there's no category. I'm gonna say that's a no. Oh, now it's there. Okay. Welcome back, Taco Creep. How you doing? How's your coffee? I suspect it was good, or is good. I got some tea myself. Got some matcha rice tea. Pretty good. You know, yesterday, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday I had it with some sugar in it. And I kind of like it better without the sugar. Community's still alive and kicking. Ooh, that sounds good. Coffee was good too. Nice. Yeah, my community hasn't died yet. Like I said, I think they balanced the game a little bit better. And because I didn't put it on normal mode, I think that makes a bit of a difference too. But before I was playing it on easy and I was still getting my butt kicked. So I think they balanced it a little bit better since then. Also, I'm not playing it very quickly. I am getting quicker as I continue to play, but yeah, I'm still kind of catching up. This guy again. I see we have been cursed. An omen is coming for us. Something bad is going to happen. Let's first research clearing. Interesting. Oh, because of that structure. When I grow old, I want to be the crazed old man within the community. The one that convinces a bunch of people to leave and start a new community. Not the HOA kind of craze, but like person with the eccentric hobbies and maybe smoke some weed or something. Sounds like me. Just gotta work on that gray. Oh, what am I doing? Uh-oh. He's burning. He's burning the fire and the well and the pond. Scorching heat. Oh, 3 buildings on fire. Consequences, nothing. No. Building conditions. Buildings may be affected by conditions. Burning. Can't believe they lit the well on fire. We need the well. And the bonfire and the pond. Those are 3 things that are kind of strange to get caught on fire. We have failed and met the doom. If we continue like this, there will be nothing left. However, I feel that this is not the end. They set the bonfire on fire, yeah. Well, it wasn't them, it was the heat. The heat started things on fire. I see it now. New and stronger challenges are coming. I mean, sometimes they do set things on fire, but this time it was the heat. Okay, forcing myself to bed. All right, boobs. Have a great night. Thanks so much for guiding that raid over here. That was very kind of you. I very much appreciate that. And have a great sleep. Hope to catch your stream soon. They set the bonfire. Oh, I read that. That's it, we must strive to reach the next Doom event. Remember, this will not be the last. So every time you get to a new event, there's more. So I think we can put this out. Stop the burning. Stop the burning. Stop the burning. No available worker. Well, we can't need that much food. Also, we need a new signpost. Alright, we saved things from being burnt down. Itawa? No thinker available. Oh, we need a job. We need jobs now. Oops, that's not what we want. I can't remember how to make a thinker. We're gonna run out of seeds. How do you educate people? Like, give them jobs. Some creatures require food. What do you want from me? Comes the event. Distressing times. Maraba is distressed. Fear threat increased permanently by 1. Don't be scared, Taco. Every civilization must collapse eventually. I wonder what kind of events the hard mode gives. I imagine quite a bit harder, because they were harder before they balanced the game. I see, actually, it's a solo dev, I'm pretty sure. I see we have been cursed. An omen is coming for us. Something bad is going to happen. Sickness. Probably something like a portal to hell opens up or something. No, I don't think it's that crazy. Maybe. You never know. I don't know how to educate people. Also, we're not gonna have enough food for the animals if we do that. Looks like we're not gonna have enough food for animals anyways. I'm not even sure if we can do anything with our animals yet. Do we even get food from that yet? I think we need like another thing for that. Seagoat, welcome in. How you doing? How are you? Doing good. Doing good. Been having a rough stream. It's failed 3 times already. So there's that. But I'm doing good. Had a run-in with my Steam Deck not charging, but it's charging now, so I don't know why it wasn't for a bit. But it ended my my collab early. So that was unfortunate. I don't remember how to like train people for jobs. Has to be something about education. Nerd, yeah. I've been good working on YouTube vid shorts. Oh, cool. Hope that's going well for you. What I posted today is doing pretty well. It's nearing 700 views. Cool. Yeah, I've been having decent luck with shorts. Sometimes it's hit or miss, but a couple that I posted, I did like every day for like a week I posted them, and a couple of them got over like 1,200 or something like that. But yeah, I'm glad to hear it, Seago. Glad to hear it. There's a Pokemon in chat, a Jellicent. Anyone plays the Pokemon game? Yeah, I've been getting a ton of your shorts, Rick. Oh, cool. So it's actually working. What did you think of them? Did you think they were dumb? For the most part, it was like an interview that I just like chopped up. And then the other one is like a snip from a stream. But mostly they were like from this interview. I spent all this time making this interview for this person, which was cool, you know. They wanted to interview me and they wanted me to make a video for their blog and all that stuff, and it was cool, you know. I got like a whole bunch of views and stuff on my itch page from like French people, because it was a French blog. And so I took that video that I made and just chopped it into pieces, like one for each game. And yeah, I thought they were super old posts that somehow got sent to my algorithm, LML, but they're pretty interesting. Yeah, I don't think they're that old. I mean, maybe there's some old ones. There are some old ones in there. Let's take a look real quick here. I go to my shorts. So the oldest one I have is like, yeah, super old, but it only got 11 views. And then the next one is also like beta for Retro Spaceball, only got 31 views. And then there's one, the first one that I did that actually got like 900 views was a boss fight. And then it went back to 28 and then 26. And then I did the fall off of the Indie Glut, and that one got 700. And then Retro Spaceball got 1300. And then my very first Game Boy game got 1500. And then I did finger drumming on the Game Boy, that got 123. And then I did first time managing a team, got 44 views. So yeah, it fluctuates for sure. I'm stalking your YouTube right now, Seago. I know their like post system for like picks and polls and stuff. I'm not sure what you mean. So we have that clearing, so now we can build this, right? Why won't it let me build it? Oh, now we can do it. We gotta upgrade it. We just needed to unlock the clearing. We didn't even need a clearing. Alright, so we're upgrading that. And there's one worker that doesn't have a job. We'll put it there. That sun looks crazy. Don't stalk mine though. I'm going through my noob YouTube narrator phase. Right on. Yeah, I mean, if you go through my YouTube, it's fucking crazy, man. Because, like, if you go to my live ones, you can see when I first started streaming. And it was like a long time ago. Like, a long time ago. I can't even, there's, what, 217 different stream videos? Anyways, they're kind of funny to watch because the quality is completely different. Like, I'm not saying this is that much better or anything, but like, I've gotten better. I mean, it's not like a crazy amount better or anything, but it's definitely better. Like, I think the first one is like me making music for Retro Spaceball in like software that I had never used before. But because it was like LMMS and it's free software, other people have like watched that. Not like a ton, but like enough, you know, like where it's like, oh, people were looking for that. I need more seeds. Yeah, streaming improved my speech skills. Right on. Yeah, I think that's important. For me, yeah, I did a lot of streaming, and I also did a podcast, and that helped me a little bit. But you know, my speech skills weren't terrible to begin with. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're not great now. I start and stop and stutter a little bit, and just like, you know, I say a lot. I go still, you know. But when I was in college, I say But when I was in college, I did a speech class, and that was actually one of the most helpful classes in college. Like when I was in school, I was like, what is this? I'm at art school taking a speech class, like what's up with that? But it was actually very, very important for me and helped me a lot. Like, I mean, I wasn't terrible at, before going into the class, but like coming out of it, I was much better. I was watching what I did with my hands, right? I was, my posture was still kind of shit, but that's a whole nother story. I was at least recognizing when I said and when I was doing the speech presentations, I didn't say I actually got pretty good at it. And then now I just kind of give up and I just say whenever I feel like it. But the teacher was impressed. I got a good grade in the class, and it was cool. It was cool. Now I'm just paying attention to all the ums that I'm saying now. But yeah, the first one we did was a 15-minute presentation, and I did it on the Yellow Submarine. And then we had to do a 30-minute speech on whatever we wanted. Well, both of them were on whatever we wanted, which is cool. So yeah, first one I did Yellow Submarine. Second one I did the history of LSD. And it was cool because they kind of worked together, right? And they were both part of my personality and like who I was, because I was always interested in psychedelic art and psychedelics in general. And even since I was a kid, I think I was in like 4th grade I was in like 2nd grade. I don't even know. Whenever I took DARE, I was like, what is a hallucinogen? And the cop was like, I've never taken them, so I can't really tell you, but they say that it's like having tunnel vision. And then she explained tunnel vision, and I was like, well, it says here that you see and hear things that don't exist. How is that possible? And she's like, I don't know. And I was like, well, I must find out. And eventually I did. It took me a long time. But the history of LSD is actually quite interesting, right? Because it was found by accident. But things that I didn't know when I did the report was that people had been using ergot as a hallucinogen for a long, long time, since the Bronze Age. There were Greek cults that used ergot mixed with wine, and that was pretty normal. That was pretty normal. They would like mass produce ergot. Well, not mass produce like the way we look at it today, but to a degree they would mass produce ergot, as well as hash, opium. All these other drugs were being produced mostly in Eastern Europe, Northeastern Europe, but they were shipped, and cannabis was in the wine. Ergot was in the wine. They didn't have coca because that was from South America, but they did have poppies, and they used other plants that were like mild hallucinogens and things that kind of fucked, psychotropic drugs, right? The thing is about Greece everyone thinks that they just drank wine. It was adulterated wine. All of it was. There was no like non-adulterated wine because there was no regulation, and you drank it to get fucked up. So they made it so it fucked you up more than just regular wine. Not to mention, it was used in sacraments even before Christianity existed. And one of the things that the sacrament's purpose was to get you fucked up. So that way you would see visions of, you know, holiness and divinity or whatever their God was supposed to be doing, right? You would have visions and, you know, spiritual experiences, out-of-body experiences. You would be like, it's because of the church. And they would do things like, I know this is off tangent here, but they would do things like they had these huge brass doors that would, or bronze doors that would open seemingly by magic, but they had these massive underground mechanisms that would turn these doors with like gears and like pulley systems and all like the technology that they had at the time to make it look like the gods were opening the doors of the church. So they were tricking people. They were tricking people to get people to donate and to join the church and be part of their cults, because a lot of Bronze Age stuff in Greek and Rome was all like cult-based religions, because it was polytheism. So you had a god, or you had a bunch of gods, and each god had a cult, and you know, or many cults depending on how popular the god was. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, I'm like that too, but way worse. I used to not talk at all, so learning how to be conversational is like learning how to walk all over again. Yeah, for sure. I can get very kind of antisocial and just like very quiet, and I can go days without really talking. That's when I'm not streaming. So yeah. OMG, I'd love to watch a deep dive into how drugs were discovered and considered illegal. Is this how practical effects were invented? Christians invented practical effects? Pretty much. Well, it wasn't even Christians. This wasn't Christians. This was the Bronze Age. This was before Christianity even existed, right? This was, you know, Greek and Roman gods and stuff like that. Like, you know, like, Hera had a cult, and Zeus had a cult, and Dionysus and Bacchus, right? They all had cults, and these people would like try to like be more popular than the other cults, and they would try to get people to join their cult, and so they would do crazy shit. And yeah, they definitely had practical effects, but I don't think they were the first to do it, but they were. It's strange, but yeah, practical effects were kind of becoming a thing because of religion. Not just Christianity, but religion. But Christianity definitely did it too, right? Yeah, I guess I said church doors. I should have said temple doors. That makes more sense. But technically, church and temple, they're like the same fucking thing, right? Oh, I get it now. It's like outdoing the other gods. Yeah, exactly. Well, and it's an economy thing, right? Like you literally are relying, when the people who worked at the temples literally relied on donations, right? Not only, you know, whatever kind of currency they had, but like actual food and water and stuff was provided by people who, you know, had jobs or did things. You know, they had like barter systems and shit back then, and you know, and they had currency too. I think they had talons back then or something, or maybe that was before talons even. I don't even know. They probably had some type of gold coins or something. Oh, we need to make sure this is producing seeds. That way we can start planting these tomatoes, because we're gonna be like hungry if we don't. Oh, now our thing is going hungry, so we don't want to do that. All right. But yeah, anyways, so ergot had been used for a long time, and I didn't even talk about that in my report because I didn't know. And honestly, I wasn't doing a report on ergot. I was doing a report on LSD. Well, LSD comes from ergot. So ergot is a mold that's produced on rye. It was an accidental discovery, right? You have rye, your industrial society or agricultural society, and you're stashing your rye so you can make it into bread, right, or whatever you make it into, and sometimes it gets wet, and then all of a sudden you've got mold growing. Well, this specific mold was, they weren't gonna not eat the bread, right? Just because of a little bit of mold, like, just don't tell anyone, we're gonna sell this shit, it'll be fine. Well, there were psychoactive effects, right? And ergot had been used to stimulate the uterus during childbirth. That was its like medicinal property, right? And it remained, right? People didn't like mind the psychoactive effect of it, right? They were just like, oh yeah, that works for stimulating the uterus during childbirth, right? So, which is kind of crazy, right? Because then you're like giving drugs to people who are giving birth. Of course, like when the baby's already like gestated and like ready to come out, there's not a whole lot of like the baby getting that messed up, but they would be a little bit, right? Because they're inside, they share the blood and yeah. So anyways, long story short, Albert Hoffman, right? Albert Hoffman, yeah. He was working in a lab synthesizing drugs, right? So they would take something that exists in nature that was being used as a drug, and they would try to make a pill out of it, right? They would try to synthesize it and be able to make it using chemicals. Because this was like the 19-somethings, like 1920s or something like that. I can't remember exactly what day. I want to say it's like 1914 or 1916 or something. But it was early 1900s. So one day he's doing his job trying to synthesize some type of drug using ergot. Well, he synthesized LSD. That's what he did. He created LSD because he was trying to take the properties of ergot that were beneficial and synthesize it. Well, he made it like potent on accident, right? And brushed it against his finger on accident. And he rode his bike home, because he rode his bike to work that day, like he did every day. And he was tripping balls on his bike ride home because he had made, at the time, one of the most potent hallucinogens that the world knew about. Of course, in South America, people were using DMT and stuff like that, so that's not entirely true. But they were unaware of that over in Europe at the time. So in all of Europe, this was like the most potent hallucinogenic experience, and he had it while riding his bicycle, and he enjoyed it. He enjoyed it enough to like tell people about it and like make it a thing, and it became a thing. And then the government was trying to use it to do different things with it, and then the US government figured out how to do it, and like, yeah, so there was like all of this testing that was going on then. They were giving it to like asylums to try to fix crazy people with it. They're like, oh, well, if it makes you crazy, maybe we'll give it to the crazy people. Like, oh, well, that's a great idea. But honestly, there probably was some benefit if you had like a therapist there walking you through the trip and that and whatnot. But the problem with that was that they were giving it to people that were like basically locked in a cell in a hospital. So like, that's a bad trip. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter if there's someone there to try to help you. It's basically your prison guard that's trying to help you through the trip, and that sounds like a bad trip to anyone. Being in a hospital sounds terrible. Being locked in a place where you can't even go outside, that sounds terrible. Because anyone who's taken hallucinogens knows that like the best place to be for that is like in nature. and like to feel one with the earth and the universe, and like that's like how that goes, that's how that works, you know. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can still have a decent experience indoors and stuff like that, but like it's different. But yeah, the US had a different idea. They were going to accidentally spray a community. They literally were like, we're gonna use this as a weapon. We're gonna drop it in a spray, as an aerosol spray from the sky. And they're like, yeah, this is a great idea, but first we need to test it. Where should we test it? We'll test it over this field, this uninhabited field. Well, the weather took it to a very habited like little town, and it dosed an entire city with LSD. That was the first time people like really were even experiencing this shit in I mean, I could be incorrect here, but I'm pretty sure that was the first time there was any testing done in the States whatsoever. There was, but around that same time, there was a lot of hospital testing still going on and stuff too. So I'm not sure what came first, the spraying. I'm sure they tested on individuals before that, but they decided they wanted to spray from the air and see how they could get this to work as a weapon. And then they realized that it didn't really work as a weapon. It just kind of disoriented and confused people. Which, you know, it could still possibly work. So they kept doing the testing as a weapon. They called that MK Ultra, which was like a big government thing that lasted for a long time. But around that same time, they started testing on people who were getting paid for the test. Like, you know, like today you get tested for drugs and they pay you for that. That's like it's like a job that people do when they don't have a whole lot of options and stuff like that. It's not a good job or anything like that, but you know, if you have side effects, they want to know, and you're getting paid. So it's like, if you get the side effects, well, you were paid to get side effects, sorry. So that's what they were doing with LSD. And one of the people that they did that to was Ken Kesey, a well-known author. Wrote One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, was a best-selling book. That's how he did that. He wrote that book after testing LSD in labs, and then he had his school bus, and he, you know, had psychedelic freakouts across the country with his group of merry pranksters, right? I don't know if you've heard this story, but yeah, Ken Kesey and the merry pranksters would go around, and they were going to Timothy Leary from San Francisco. They drove from San Francisco on the West Coast all the way to Timothy Leary on the East. They said it was funny when they got there because they were all like freak out, you know, like psychedelic patterns, and they were making the first tie-dyes and, you know, singing songs and getting naked and just having sex in the yard, stuff like that, you know, what do they call it? Free love, right? You know? And Timothy Leary, on the other hand, had a little like LSD cult basically of intellectuals that were focusing on being intellectuals while tripping. And it was a very different culture. So they basically just let the merry pranksters hang out in the yard, and they like had some conversations and stuff, but they were like, who are these fucking weirdos? Let's get back inside. But yeah. Do we have enough to plant? I think we do, right? Yeah. And then we've got one more. What is he gonna do? What is he gonna do? Oh. This spiraled into a lot of things. Bioweapon to make everyone happy. Is it even lethal if the dose was too much? LMAO. This spiraled into a lot of things. So it's not there. I don't think there's any case of it being lethal unless it was like, you know, cardiac arrest or like, I don't really know, but it's unlikely to die from it. The problem is that you break your it breaks your brain, right? It will. There are cases where people took too much and never fully came back from it. So I mean, it's one of those things, right? It's like there's this drug called dextromethorphan, which is it's in cough syrup, and you know, people do the robo trips or whatever. That's what that is, dextromethorphan, and technically speaking, it's never killed anyone. So like, you can't die from it, you can't overdose from it, unless maybe you can, and we just don't know that yet. But that doesn't mean that it won't screw you up beyond repair, right? And especially because it's mixed with all these other drugs right now, and people will like take Robitussin. Like my brother got into it, right? Not to speak too much about my brother, but he was into it, and he took the wrong stuff one time. Someone bought him the wrong stuff, and it really messed with him because it was like it changed his blood pressure, right? Like to the point where he was like having a panic attack, and he was feeling the effects because like, yeah, it's not good. And then when I was in adolescent rehab, there was a lot of, and I had taken this as a kid, this stuff called Coricidin cold and cough. They called it triple C's, right? Because it had three C's on the pills. Anyways, it was a DXM trip. It was a pill version of it, and it did things to your blood pressure also, because it was a cold medicine, but it was made for people with high blood pressure. So it would like drop your blood pressure, I think, or something like, I can't remember exactly how it worked, but it did something to the point where people would get a tolerance to it, was the problem. So, you know, you take 8 your first time, and you're like 8 pills, which is probably not smart, and you would trip, right? In fact, that's just stupid, right? But when I was a kid, it seemed like a good idea. Well, all of my friends were already on the 16 while I was taking 8, right? Well, from when I was in rehab, I learned about people that were taking 2 or 3 boxes. So they were taking like 32 at a time, or even more, you know, 40 at a time. Just to feel the effects, because they had a tolerance to it. They were becoming addicted to it, right? And it's, you know, it's a hallucinogen, so it's not really, what's the word, physically addicting, but it's mentally addicting, right? Where you get attached to the disassociative nature of the drug, right? You're getting high, and you're addicted to the high, but it's not necessarily like a nicotine addiction. Yeah, you want to feel nice. Exactly, something like that, right? And or you just want to escape reality. I think that was a main issue with that, because it's a disassociative, right? Anyways, people who were taking way too much, their eyes were bleeding. Like literally, their eyes were bleeding. And this is what they told me at adolescent rehab. So like, yeah, that's dangerous. That's fucking dangerous. I know a lot of people say that about weed, that it's not addictive, but they're really referring to physical addiction. Bruh. So yeah, there actually is withdrawal to weed as well. It takes a long time for it to occur, but I felt it. I've been there, because I smoked weed every day for like, well, not every single day, but pretty much every day for like 20 years, right? And like the last 6 months I stopped because I moved to a new state. I don't have my insurance set up in the state yet. I don't have a medical card. I'm not trying to buy illegal weed and get in trouble or anything like that for something that's stupid and something that's pretty much legal. So anyways, I'm just like, yeah, whatever, I can stop. I've stopped before for like a few months at a time and stuff like that. Anyways, I knew, because of having stopped for just a few days at a time before, that you get nightmares when you stop smoking weed, right? Not just like nightmares, but like the most vivid, crazy nightmares. There will be like off the wall madness, but it will feel like you are there. And it might, like, telling someone the dream the next day, like, you'll remember everything, but it'll sound like complete utter nonsense and madness, and like, how could you be afraid of that? but during the dream, it's like the most terrifying thing ever, right? And that is literally a withdrawal of cannabis, because what THC does is it suppresses your REM like cycle, right? So when you aren't smoking weed, your brain normally goes into REM, like, right? But if you do something like, I don't know, watch TV while you're sleeping or listen to music while you're sleeping, that is also a suppressant for REM, right? So it might diminish your dreams for a little bit. But what your brain does, and this works for any REM suppressant, what your brain does is it compensates for it. It says, no, you're supposed to dream. You're supposed to feel REM. This is part of natural life. So we're going to try harder. I don't know exactly what it is that it does. We're going to try harder to do this REM thing and counteract whatever is suppressing it. And it does. You smoke weed for a long time, you'll still have dreams. You'll still you'll have, you'll dream like a normal person. But then you take it away and your body still thinks that it needs to overcompensate. So that's what it does. It overcompensates the REM, and your REM cycles get way more rapid and intense than they need to be because you don't have that REM suppressant anymore. And it took me months to feel better. Like literally like 4 months before the dreams went away, right? And I still have dreams now. They're still pretty vivid, but they're not crazy nightmares where I'm being like, raped by hillbillies or whatever, like whatever the crazy shit, right? Months to recover, literally months for the nightmares to go away. And people have like psychotic breaks because of this shit. You know what I mean? Like if your mental state is already kind of like, not doing so good, and then you put yourself through months of nightmares, you can end up with insomnia, which doesn't help your mental state at all, right? So yeah, you can literally like have a death spiral because of cannabis addiction. And you might not even realize that it's an addiction, because it's not a physical addiction in the sense of like, oh, I need to smoke because I need to smoke like a cigarette, But after a few days, when you're smoking, daily on end, you're going to feel these nightmares, and you're going to be like, if I just smoke some weed, the nightmares will go away. And they will. And honestly, as someone who's been through this, I can say it's better to taper off, because that it might take a little bit longer for everything to finally go away completely, but it won't be as intense, and it won't be as bad. So that's my thoughts on that. Bit of a tangent. Anyways, I really liked talking to my class about LSD, and I liked going to an art school where they allowed that to happen. And no one said anything. No one thought it was weird. I didn't get called down to an office. I didn't have any there was nothing wrong with me doing that. And that's one thing I loved about art school. Like I was literally talking about a drug that many artists have taken, and that many artists were curious about, and everyone in the class was curious and wanted to learn, and it was really a good experience for me. And you know what? When I was hiring people for a job last year, I was the team manager and I was hiring people, I actually had to turn someone down because they couldn't communicate properly, right? And it's unfortunate, right? Because they were clearly capable. They gave us, they did the test. We gave everyone a test, and they did great on the test. And we're like, okay, let's interview this guy, right? So I've got the studio owner, and I'm on the call, and I'm interviewing him, giving him questions and stuff like that. Well, the studio owner couldn't understand what they were saying. Like literally couldn't understand what they were saying for like multiple reasons, right? And I could, because I had worked at a you know, a help desk for credit cards where I was taking calls from all over the states. And you know, there a lot of cities in the states are kind of melting pots. You get all types of different languages. For example, one time I took a call. Actually, I worked at 2 different call centers. One time I was doing catastrophe claims for State Farm, and I got a call from this woman who spoke Creole. And I don't know if you've ever heard Creole, but it is a weird sounding language. In fact, I couldn't even figure out what it was. But I had to figure out what it was to get her to the correct translator. And she was upset. She was dealing with a flood. She didn't think she had insurance, but she thought maybe she should try anyways. She didn't have insurance. I felt so bad for her, but that wasn't my spot to say that to her. So I literally had to get her to a translator who could then, you know, we linked the translator with an adjuster and all this stuff. It was a mess because I didn't even know what language she was speaking. But I figured it out. Actually, I figured it out with the help of the translator. Because first thing I did was I called the translator and I was like, look, I've got this woman. I don't even know what language she's speaking. It sounds like that, like, Louisiana, like, Cajun stuff. And they're like, Creole? I was like, yes, that's what it is. It's gotta be that. Because it was like French, but not. And it was like Jamaican, but not, right? It was Creole. That's interesting to hear, though. I cannot work a job like that. I feel so bad. It was rough. It was not an easy job, the catastrophe claims. Most of the time it was just hail damage, which isn't usually so bad. It's just like, well, you know, your rates are gonna go up and that sucks, but you've got insurance, so you've got a roof and you need a roof, right? And yeah, you know, you pay for insurance so that way you can have a roof when the hail comes down and damages your roof, right? But every once in a while I get a call about a flood. Fucking no one's got flood insurance, man. Nobody. Like, I mean, there is flood insurance, but it costs a lot. And most people don't have that. But when you have a flood, you call your insurance company and say, like, hey, by the way, do you cover floods? Because I just had a terrible flood. No. And it wasn't my job to say no. I couldn't tell them no. I had to say, let's get you to your adjuster so they can tell you the bad news, essentially. And that was really rough because they would be, you know, in tears sometimes because everything they own just got wiped out, you know? But yeah, it's fucking nuts. Because when you have insurance, at least here in the States, and there are different types of insurance, but most of the time you just get exterior insurance, which is like your roof or like the siding of your house, or, you know, if a car crashes into your house kind of thing, that's covered in exterior. But there's also interior insurance, and that's more like flood and stuff like that, right? So if you have the interior, that means that, like, if one of your appliances breaks and floods your room, like, guess what? That's covered. But that's also more expensive than the exterior. And it's less likely to happen. So, yeah, insurance is nuts. The credit card thing was interesting too, because, you know, you get all types of calls. You get mostly merchants, mostly people that have a credit card swiper saying like, hey, I can't work this. And I'd be like, did you try turning it on and off again? They'd be like, no. Should I do that? I'd be like, yes. And they would try to be like, oh, it's working. Thanks. But every once in a while you get a call where it's like there was this old couple that owned a cafe, and they had been swiping the cards like they always did. Quote, we're swiping the cards like we always do. And well, guess what? You gotta pay attention to the protocol, because if you don't follow the new protocols that they roll out, you're going to get fined. Not only that, but you're liable for all of that money. Because when we got the chip readers finally, Europe had it for like 6 years before us. When we finally got the chips in the cards here, You had to do that if you owned a business and they had a chip on their card. You had to use the chip. If they didn't have a chip, then you could swipe it, but if it had the chip, you had to do that. And so what happened was that people were like smart about that, and they would go to these restaurants that still swiped even though they had a chip, and then they would charge them back and say, we didn't make that purchase. Well, guess what? Because they broke the protocol, they had no defense. They had to give that money back. Oh, that's so weird. Yeah, so this business was completely destroyed by that. They had this restaurant for years, and they just didn't follow the new rules for the credit cards, and they thought everything was going to be okay because they're doing good as a business. They got straight up scammed. Yeah. So that was the issue that I learned and I only stayed there for about a year. And when I left, during the exit interview, they were asking me all these questions like, so you didn't like working here? I was like, no, I did not. And they're like, well, why not? I was like, because you guys are ripping off small businesses like crazy. And that was the thing. Like it's a great convenience for the customer. I have a credit card. I use it all the time. It's great convenience. However, if you're actually going to a small business that you're trying to like help and say like, oh, I'm going to this small business because I want to support small businesses, do your best to pay with cash, because every time you swipe a card, they have to pay a fine on that shit. Not only that, but the card swiper itself costs money, and those things are refurbished and break all the time. And then you don't even get like a new one when it breaks. You have to buy a new refurbished one, and you don't even buy it, you lease this shit. So it's like they win no matter what, right? It's crazy the amount of fines and little fees that they tack on, right? The call center that I worked at, they didn't tell us this, but you kind of figure it out after a while you work there, right? Those calls that were coming in, they're not free. Someone has to pay for that shit. That's how we got paid, right? I mean, we worked for a credit card processor, so they were making money anyways, but they wouldn't have had a call center if it didn't cost money to call it, right? Well, when you're an employee working for a small business owner, right? And all of a sudden you can't use the credit card terminal like you're supposed to, and it has this little phone number on the side that says like, if there's a problem, call this number. You call the help desk. I would get on the line and say, oh, all you gotta do is turn it off and turn it back on again. That shit costs like $50, right? Well, if they're calling all the time and doing that, that is money. That's money for them to just turn it off and on again, right? It's crazy. I'm not sure if the same over here, but I assume so. I'm sure it's different everywhere. Every bank and credit card has different relationships with the merchants, right? But in the States, that was like a big thing when we crossed over to the chips, because a lot of people didn't understand like the full like thing of it, right? Because that tracks like a lot of data, and not only do they want that data, but they like want to keep your stuff safe. And if you don't do that, then there's a chance that like things could be bad for you. I don't know. Anyways, after the interview with that person, so the story about the person, they were from Ethiopia, right? They were literally living in a different year because they literally had a different calendar. They were in some type of internet cafe, and it was very loud. They had a microphone, but we were hearing everything. We were hearing the people nearby. We were hearing the fan or whatever was making that loud humming sound. The computer, maybe, I don't know what it was. It was not quiet, right? And then there was a lot of mouth sounds, right? They were breathing into the microphone. They were like, not being very clear. They were kind of mumbling, and they were doing their best to speak English the way that they were taught to speak English, which was not the English that I was used to speaking, or the owner of the studio, who was from a completely different country, they're not even American, right? So the fact that I could understand it was just because I was used to like piecing together broken English, because that's my first language. Well, the other person who owned the studio, English was not their first language. It was their second language or third language or something. So like they had trouble trying to figure out this broken English with a Ethiopian accent, right? So after the interview, I had to tell the guy, I'm sorry, you know, we can't hire you. And they're like, but why? I was like, well, to be honest, you did a great job on your test. You clearly know what you're doing, but we can't communicate with you. And communication is such a strong part of making games, right? Because if we can't understand the way that you're talking to us, how can we be sure that you understand the way that we're talking to you? And like, it just isn't going to work if the owner of the studio can't understand what you're saying. I can't translate all the time, right? So I told him, I was like, what you want to do is take a speech class. I took one in college and it was extremely helpful to me. And if you really want to pursue a tech career and work online with countries outside of your own, you're going to want to take a speech class. There are professionals that know how to talk to English-speaking people, you know, on the other side of the world. And hopefully that's what they did. Never heard from them again, but, you know, I did my best to help them. I felt really bad that we couldn't hire them, but that's just how it works sometimes. You know, it's nothing against them. It's just you got to be able to communicate, right? It's a big deal. Maybe we want that instead. Nowhere to place that. Oh, we've got one empty thing. What should this person do? Not that. Oh, we're out of food. That's not good. We're all gonna die. We're all gonna die. What can you do? I guess we could have them forage non-seeds. Ah. Uh-oh. Yeah, I'd be so scared to be the one to break the news. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. At that point, I had already done it enough, right? Because we interviewed like a whole lot of people. And I did the whole thing. I did all of that. I found the people. I did the testing. I charted all of their skills in like one of those JoJo diagrams, like a radial star diagram, right? And you know what I'm talking about? Let me find this. I can find an image. Like this, right? You've seen these before. You've seen JoJo's, right? So when there's like a stand master in the early seasons, they did this star diagram where it was like speed, range, durability, precision, development potential, destructive power, right? So durability and speed, he's really high in. He's not so high in development or range, right? Yeah, old MMOs use these a lot. Yeah, so that's what I did for each applicant, right? And I still have the data. I can't share it because it's NDA, but also it's like someone's personal information, basically. But yeah, basically, so what I did was I surveyed everyone, and it was like an honesty thing, right? It was like a, what do they call that? I don't even know the word for it. There's a word for it. Where you just say, like, be honest and answer these questions. And we could kind of judge the honesty by, you know, it was basically, how skilled are you in this? How skilled are you in this? The honor system, exactly. Honor system survey. But just ask them the whole gambit of game development tools or skills, right? Because I'm a solo developer. I know what these skills are, you know, like, how good are you at drawing? How good are you at animating? How good are you at programming? How good are you at using Git? Or, you know, like all of these different things, like little nuanced things, but the whole circle, right? So there was like, I don't even know, like 15 different questions that I asked them to rate yourself 1 to 10 on, right? And if someone said that they were like all 10s, it was easy that you just don't believe them. No one is all 10s, right? So like, and there were people that did that, and it's like, sorry, we're not looking for someone who lies when we're telling them to be honest. You know what I mean? Like, I get it that you think you're awesome, but no one is a 10 at everything. No one. And even if you are a 10 at everything, you don't think that you are. You think that, like, oh, I could still get better at programming because I'm an artist, you know, or vice versa. I just realized you literally played a game dev tycoon at IRL. Oh yeah, because the number one advice for job interviews is to lie, and some take it too far. Well, it's insane, right? First of all, I don't think you should lie at a job interview. I think you should be honest as you can without being like detrimental to the position, right? For yourself, right? You shouldn't, like, you know, throw yourself under the bus, you know what I mean? But be honest, because in a pinch, you know, when things are rough, you're going to expect some level of honesty. I mean, no one's 100% honest all the time, right? So you just kind of have to, like, understand that. But if you can't figure out your worst skill and tell us what that is, we don't want you on the team. That's the way I was looking at it, right? Because I want someone who's going, if I say, like, oh, can you handle this? And they say, yeah, for sure, even though they can't, like, that's a recipe for disaster, right? But if they say, you know what, drawing is not my strong suit, I'm more of a programmer, I'm going to say, cool, we have a need for a programmer as well. Let's get you on a job that's more akin to your skills, right? And that's what you do, right? So it actually worked really well. But the funny part is that I actually got all of these applications from Twitter, of all places. This was back when Twitter was still useful. It was like maybe a year or so, or maybe like even 6 months before it wasn't useful anymore. So it was kind of cutting it close there. But you know, I had a big enough Twitter account, and the thing is that you say, like, hey, we're hiring, and you get responses, right? And then because everyone responds, all of a sudden it kind of blows it up a bit. So, and I did a really good job of wording it in a way that the bots didn't catch on, right? Because a lot of times bots will catch on if you say, like, we have a job that needs to be filled, and we're looking for programmers, and like, so I like worded it in ways that the bots were not prepared for, because I had seen so many bots do that thing, you know? Yeah, I tried to make a tweet about hiring people, now you'd only get bots. Well, you would back then too, but I did a great job of wording it in a way that would, like, you know, not, and I don't think any bots even, like, got onto it. It was interesting how well it worked out for me. I mean, don't get me wrong, not everyone was serious. Some people said that they were interested and then they didn't respond, or they'd accidentally, like, forget about it and come back. weeks later and be like, oh shit, I forgot about this, are you still hiring? Be like, no, we hired people that were responsive. You know, and that's like how you go. But there was like 40 people that like were, you know, interested, and then some of them narrowed themselves down by either not being responsive or you know, saying, oh, maybe I want to do it, I don't know, or, you know, like all that stuff. And eventually I think we got it down to like 15 or so, and then from that I think I narrowed it down to like 12 that actually took the test. And now this was kind of important because I pushed for paid tests. I said that like, if we're gonna be serious and like pay these people, we need to pay them for the test, because we're asking them to spend 8 hours of time, and we want, because we basically, I said, this was my test, I was like, make a game in 8 hours. It's like a mini game jam. Cut as many corners as you want. We're gonna use our imagination and flesh out the rest. We're not expecting anything to be done. We don't want you to work over 8 hours. You're getting paid for your 8 hours. You're not getting paid for any more. And we want it to be fair for everyone. So only work 8 hours. Clock yourself if you need to, you know. And there were a few people that said, like, I gotta be honest, I spent at least 3 hours more than what you were giving me because I needed it. You know, I'm not expecting pay for it, but that's, you know, just being honest. And it was fine. It was like, I think we did hire a couple people that said that, and that's fine. You know, as long as they were honest about it, that's fine, you know. Not only that, but it kind of shows that you're like really, you know, into what you're doing and into the job, and that you're excited and all of that stuff. So it wasn't like a bad thing to go over. It was just that we only had enough to pay for 8 hours, right? And it was good. It was good pay for a test. I've never been paid for a test before, and I have never been paid as much as those people were paid for not getting a job, right? Because we paid all of them, even if you didn't get the job, right? But yeah, I kind of pushed for that, and I think it was kind of important. Yeah, it's not a good look. How did you reply late? Yeah. Like, people literally like forgot, and they were like, oh yeah, I was out of town, or I had to do this other thing, or I completely forgot. Like, are you still hiring? Like, no, that was like a month ago. I think one was even like 6 months later, and I was like, we're nearly done with the project. You know what I mean? I know, because I used to use Upwork as a freelancer before. This sounds like Upwork application, actually. Well, from there we took it, you know, I'd never done Upwork, but honestly, that was where the studio owner was like originally going to look, right? And I was like, you don't want that, because if you do that, what you're gonna end up with is, yeah, maybe someone who's skilled, but they might not have the communication skills required. And there's going to be more time fixing errors in judgment and communication than there will be if we do it this other way. You know, like if we stick to the developer circles, we're going to get people who know how to communicate. If we go outside of that, we might get people that will work for cheap and know what they're doing, but they won't know how to communicate, or they won't know like what's normal, right? If you know, and one of the mistakes that I made was that I was looking for solo developers, particularly because I knew that they would have a well-rounded skill set, and they did, and that part of it was good. But the problem with that was that most of these people had never worked on a team project before. They all had projects that they'd finished themselves for the most part, and they all had, like, you know, the skills in all of the sections. Not all of them were great, but you know, like, some of them were really good at art, some of them were really good at programming, etc., right? So like, and the tests were fun, you know, like some of them did a really good job of it. I told them to like make a game, kind of like the one we were making, except make it, you know, simple and easy, and, you know, do like a mini game version of it, or like, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, if you don't want to do textures and UV maps, don't do textures and UV maps, just use gray boxes. I don't care, you know. Or if you're an artist and you want to make it look good, then yeah, make it look good, and then, you know, try to make it into a game, right? Because I wanted some of these people to have some game design skills, right? And I think that kind of made it work better in the end, because at some point we had everyone designing the game, you know, and everyone put in their 2 cents on the game's design, and it worked for it to a degree. You know, it didn't work as a financial success, unfortunately, but that's for other reasons that I can't really get into. But yeah, it was a very good learning experience for everyone on the team. And, you know, honestly, people were happy with my skills as a manager. I was actually happy with myself for being able to, like, take on those types of new skills. I'd never managed a team before, you know, so it was interesting for me. I would do it again, honestly. I enjoyed managing, and I felt like I did a decent job of it. I did have to learn on the fly, right? Because this was like a whole new skill set that I had never done before. Like, yeah, I could make a game, and yeah, I can like debug other people's code and stuff like that. And that was important. It was important for sure. But I didn't realize how important it was going to be to navigate the social landscape, right? It was like tug of war, but you can't let it feel like tug of war, right? It's interesting. Yeah, so because like, I can't get too much into details, right? But there are social hurdles in the workplace, and when you're a manager, all of that is on you, right? And if you give someone the wrong job and they can't feel like they can tell you that, that's on you. That's not on them. That's on you. So yeah, it's your job to like manage them and put them in the right positions and tell them the things that they need to do. And if they can't say, hey, you know, I'm not really good at this, maybe you could find something better for me to do, then that's a failure on your part, right? So like, you know, if one person wants to do something, let them do it. That was my philosophy. I'm not going to tell someone, no, you can't do this, because like clearly you want to do this. You probably think you'd be a good fit at it, right? And, you know, like, unless there's some reason why we have to like split it between 2 people, sure, take it, see what you can do with it. And then the other thing is that it's like, keep us informed. Let's talk as a team. Before you jump on any work, draw a sketch first. That was the big thing that I said. I realized very quickly that not everyone can draw what they're about to work on. Not everyone can write out what they're about to do before they do it. Some, and especially solo developers, they just do it, right? And that is for better or for worse, right? I don't know. Do we really need any more wood? We've got tons of wood. But I really like managing. I'd love to do it some more. I feel like it's a hard job to get, though. I kind of lucked myself into that job. I have that problem too, to be honest. That's why schedules aren't for me, because I can change my mind on the spot. Yeah, I'm not good with schedules either. But luckily, with that job, no one needed to have a schedule other than when we decided that we were going to do weekly team meetings. That was it. So I would, if my schedule was off, I would wake up for the team meeting, do the team meeting. Maybe I'd wake up a couple hours beforehand so I could like wake up, get some caffeine in me or whatever. And then I would go back to bed if I was still tired, right? And then I would do my work when I woke up. And I imagine other people on the team were doing that too, because it was people from all over the world. everyone's time zones were different, and we all had to say like, all right, what time is going to work for a meeting? You know, how can we make this work? And we did. We came up with a time that worked, and it was rough because one person would be going to bed right after the meeting and the other person would be waking up early to make the meeting. That's what we had to do. But yeah, it worked, you know, to a degree. I think, like I said, I think we did a great job for what it's worth. And there's definitely some mistakes that we made, that we learned from as a team, and yeah. There was actually a second project that unfortunately got canceled. But yeah, I managed that one as well. And because it was canceled, I can't really talk about it because it's all under NDA. And it's never going to see the light of day. But a learning experience again. And once again, I ended up doing a lot of the work myself. It was surprising. But yeah, working with a budget is tough, right? And then working with different varieties of skills is tough. Finding a spot for everyone, like, because some of these people, like, this was their first time working on a team, like I said, and this was their first time, like, finishing something. You know, a lot of them had like projects or like game jams or little things, but they never actually like finished a project, you know? And at the time, I don't think I really did either, right? Because I mean, honestly, how many projects have I really finished at this point, other than the one I did with that team? Retro Spaceball is not done. It's been on hiatus for the last couple of years, but it's like 7-8 years in the making, and it's not done, right? Source Hack isn't done. It's, you know, there's a playable version, but it isn't done. Pyrotoad is nearly done, but it's not. And also, I hadn't even started Pyrotoad at that point yet. Bit Dropper I finished, but that was afterwards. Demon Fish Dead Ahead, again, that was like a game jam game, and it was finished, but now I'm updating it, so it's not really done. But again, that was after. So like, yeah. Yeah, I don't know how I'd fit in a team personally. I've always just worked by myself. Well, if it was me building a indie game team and putting you on it, I would say that you'd be the pixel artist. That'd be pretty easy, but you'd have to make sure that that it's a pixel art game, right? Otherwise, you'd be the 3D artist because you can do some block bench stuff, but then it would have to be like a block bench one, right? Because clearly, well, not clearly, but you were mentioning that you had some, you know, struggles with the depth of Blender, which is understandable. It's a big fucking software. I don't know all of it either. I don't claim to be a Blender guru at all. I think anyone who does claim to be a Blender guru is probably not actually as good as they think they are. Isn't there someone called Blender Guru or something like that? Yeah, though I think if I were to work with another pixel artist, for example, I wonder how I'd do it. So honestly, a lot of the times with pixel art indies, you only got one pixel artist. It's a lot of fucking work, but that happens a lot. This game, I think, only had one artist. Unless they hired different people for different things, I'm pretty sure this was a solo developer. Alright, we've got a whole bunch of seeds, so we can get some tomatoes here. But it is a lot of work. So it's like one of those things that like not everyone can even stick around that long. You know what I mean? Like, life changes, things happen, you get sick of the job, you no longer want to do it. I mean, that's all things you have to account for. And then with an artist, it can be real bad because when you have like a specific style, and the artist on the team is also the art director, and they pack up and leave, well, guess what? It's not easy to fill those shoes, you know? I'll be honest, the more I immerse myself in Blockbench, the more I realize I might still have to use Blender, because just setting up the avatar I made to be a usable VTuber requires Blender rigging. Sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about Blockbench, so I don't know the depths of it. But the way I see it, you know, Blender is a very valuable tool and it's free, so like, why not like do whatever you can with it, right? I mean, you don't have to know every aspect of it. And rigging is a little intimidating for sure, but it's not impossible. It's actually fairly easy compared to Maya or Max, from my knowledge. I haven't spent a whole lot of time in Maya, but Max I did quite a bit of animating in, and it wasn't easy, you know? Blender I feel like is quite a bit easier in a lot of ways. I really like ZBrush, but dude, animating in ZBrush was like the world's worst, stupidest thing ever. Like, no one does that. But you can technically rig in ZBrush, believe it or not. Don't recommend doing it. Yeah, I still have some knowledge using Blender. I might have to reteach myself again so I don't forget. Yeah, you know, the more you do it, the easier it is to remember. But like, honestly, I do Blender stuff for work sometimes, and I still forget. And I have to crash course some videos to remind myself how to do this shit. It's so deep. The cold. Yeah, the shortcuts and OMG, the nodes. Yeah, the nodes I still don't fully know. I haven't messed with shaders in Blender really. And the reason why is because there is no like universal materials, right? If you make a material in Blender and then you drag that FBX into Unity, Unity will try its best to recreate those materials, and if it's just a texture, you know, then it will make a standard material with that texture and it might look okay. But if you've got, you know, all of your different maps and everything, you'll have to recreate those materials in Unity or Unreal or Godot. There is no drag and drop for materials. You can get the model, you can get the textures, and you can even get some of the materials. But honestly, if you're going to be working in a game engine, it's better to learn that game engine's method of making materials. And if you're going to be working in Blender only and you're doing animations or like film, then yeah, use those materials, obviously, right? But like, for instance, Cryptic, one of my mods, was having trouble because they spent a lot of time learning the materials in Blender, and they're like, oh, we're going to make this in Blender. And then they drag it into Unreal, and I tried to tell them, I was like, hey, you know, this is going to be difficult to get it to look just like that in Unreal. So you might want to, you know, start with something small and see if you can recreate it in Unreal. And that's what they did. They were like, okay, yeah. And then they realized that like they might as well just be making the materials in Unreal. And it's a better workflow. Because what you end up having to do is bake every single texture, and then you still have to make the materials and then put those textures into each material slot in Unreal. So you might as well just start in Unreal. But that, I mean, like I said, it depends on what you're gonna do. If you're gonna do Blender animations, then do it in Blender. Luckily, there's a lot of crossover with the nodes and stuff. They're not all the same, And like if you were going to try to recreate a material, it's going to be difficult to get it to look the same. However, a lot of the terminology is the same. Well, some of it's not, which is upsetting and shit. But like bump map, sometimes normal maps are considered bump maps, and sometimes like normal maps have the full color range, right? But bump maps are just black and white. They're monochrome. At least typically that's how the terminology has been taught to me. But in Unity, for example, a bump map is a normal map. So it's like, would you just like give up on bump maps and everything's a normal map? But yeah, if you make like a displacement map in Blender and you bring that displacement map into Unreal and give it the exact same settings, it's not going to look exactly the same. Barley and hemp. I want to know how to teach people things. A paper maker. OMG, I don't even know the difference between normals and height maps, because one of them is black and white. A height map is black and white. Normal map is always color. I remember sitting down and watching one video talking about what normal maps are and how to effectively make one. Yeah, so it's really not that difficult. I can explain a little bit here without going too overboard. So let's pull this up. So here is a normal map of a sphere. Now these are faceted spheres, right? So these are great for pixel art, these faceted ones. This is more like a three-dimensional thing, right? So what you end up with is, and it's not the whole color gamut, right? But you do have all the colors to make these. Like this is green, this is yellow, this is reddish, this is pink, or this is magenta and cyan becoming purple. There's some bluish in there, right? So I mean, it's all of the colors, but there's no white, there's no black, there's no red, there's no orange. You know, I guess this is kind of orange, but it's not like super orange. Yeah, I guess this is orange. But yeah, you get what I'm saying. It's not like the rainbow. So what you end up with is basically, if you were trying to recreate this side of a shape, you could just well, let's do some. We'll copy the image. We'll open up Sprite. We'll make a new file. We'll paste that in here. And then just for the sake of ease, we'll just work on the same canvas here. We'll just throw it here, right? And let's say even we've got like a shape, right? We'll do a face. We'll like, I don't know, maybe a frog face. And yeah, I don't know. I have no idea how this is going to turn out, to be honest. But here's our frog, right? And we don't have to worry about like the details, but so what you would do then is you would take like this and just kind of do that, right? And then you take this and you do that. And then you take this and then you do that, and this and you do that, and this and that and this, right? We're going up a little bit. You go there. And now we're making a spherical kind of thing, right? But it doesn't have to be spherical, right? Maybe we want this to be the same edge as that. And we want them both to be spherical, but we want this edge to be more rounded like a lip, right? And you can literally hand paint normal maps. It's not going to look great, but then you can blend them. And what you end up with is something that looks a little bit more three-dimensional. And again, you wouldn't want it like this looks like shit, really, but like that's essentially what's going on here. And so these actually make it really easy to understand what's really happening under the hood, right? So when you have a normal, so what a normal is basically a tangent, right? So each one has like its own, and I'm kind of screwing this up. It's like in Blender, right? In fact, let's just open Blender. What about if you want to add indentation bevel in the middle of the model? That's one I struggle to execute. Yeah, so let's say there's a hole in the frog's head, like, or let's just work with the eyes, right? So if we wanted the eyes to be, well, the eyes would be more spherical, right? So it would basically be the same thing. We could actually just take this, make it that, and then we've got an eye, right? That would be the easiest way to do it. But then, like, you know, I don't know. I mean, you could do a lot with that, right? With just taking these balls, and I mean, we're talking about doing normal maps by hand, which is something that that doesn't normally happen, right? Normally speaking, normal maps aren't done by hand. And then you could also take it and invert it. Oh, how do you invert it? Shift I, Control Shift I? No, that's the selection. We want to invert. Oh, so that doesn't really work, right? Because then you're not using the same color spectrum. Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. But in Blender, we'll just do a general thing. And then so up here, somewhere up here, if we put it into this mode, oh, and then I always forget where it's at. Here, you can actually see the normals, right? And you can change how visible they are with this size here. So these blue rays, those are the normals, right? So if we were to like throw a subsurf modifier on this, subdivision subsurf, and give it some levels, and then we'll go out of edit mode and apply it. Now we've got all of these different normals. So these are what normals are, right? These spikes coming out of it, that's normals. So the colors by the edge equals the most harsh creases edges. Am I right? Absolutely. Absolutely. And honestly, I don't really know how to map, to bake normal maps, but in Blender, but these are the normals, right? So that's what each value of the color sphere in like this is representing one of those. And this is a really easy way to understand it, right? Because each one of these potentially would have a different spike if it was a 3D object. Well, each color is representing which direction the tangent is facing, right? That's what a normal is. The colors are just data. That's just data. That's data that represents the tangents of these rays. So when you throw a flat image, because that's what normals are. They're there to fake actual 3D definition, right? So if you have a flat surface, let's say, wait, what am I doing here? We got a plane. Oh, we got the plane here. Oh, I hit the H button. Alt H. There we go. So yeah, this one, if we look at it, the normal is facing down, right? So that's the one normal of it. But if we wanted it to look like it had more dimensions to it, you know, like let's say, I'm just gonna stretch it out real quick here. Oops, that's not what we want. Something like that, where it looks like it's like a pillow, right? Well, what you'd actually have to do then is like fake it with these colors, right? Because you want it to look like it's got this like button on it, but you don't want to actually use the geometry. You just want to use one piece of geometry like that. You don't want to use all of these mesh, all of these vertices, all of the sides, the faces, because that adds, because let's say this is a tiny detail on like a big machine of buttons. There's like a whole bunch of these buttons. All of those verts are going to add up. So what you do is you fake it by giving it this color. You tell it that you're faking it with that color, and you put the texture of the color into the slot. It doesn't show you the color. It shows you the angle that that area of the texture is supposed to be mapped to. So these would create normal maps but retain the flat shape. Exactly. So the next part is that the light is faked as well. So if you look at it from the side angle, then yeah, it would still have a flat shape. But when you get close to it, you don't even see that because the light looks like it's giving it shape. It's only when you look at it from like a profile angle or like a sharp angle where you see that that's not actually geometry. That's just a plane on the floor. It just looks like planks of wood because there's cavities, right? Of course, there's like a cavity map also, and then there's displacement maps. And if you use all of that stuff, you can make it literally look, well, like a displacement map actually changes the geometry, right? So they use that in film. They don't really use displacement maps as much in games. Like you can, it's just not very performant to use it a lot. You can use it, but you got to kind of use it sparingly and know when to use it, right? Because if you use displacement maps everywhere to make up the geometry, you are actually making that geometry, and it has to render just like any other geometry. So you could just use actual geometry in that case, and it would take about the same time, maybe even less time to render, because you're not dealing with processing the displacement, right? Yeah, displacement modifiers in Blender drives my computer nuts. It drives everyone's computer nuts. It's always been that way. Displacement maps are always going to be kind of only for film, because it's only for renders where you have time. You don't really want that in real time. It's just going to bog everything down. So that's why normal maps kind of changed the industry. And before that, it was bump maps, right? Sorry, I said it wasn't going to be too big of a tangent, and here we are still talking about normal maps like an hour later. But yeah, before we completely get off of normal maps, there is a software. So yeah, this is the one I recommend. There's more, but this is a good piece of software, and I might even have it installed. Oh hey, I got something. I got followed. Sweet. So this is free. It's on itch. It's called Lighter, and it's spelled really funny because it's LAIGTER. Like, I can't even remember how to spell it. I misspell it and then type normal map afterward to help me find it. But if we take a look at the video here, it kind of explains what it does. So this is for 2D normal maps. In automatic, let's go back real quick and turn off the music. In automatic normal map generator software for sprites. So it's for 2D. Basic controls implemented until now are shown. This is not a tutorial. So take a look at it. And this is in Spanish, obviously, but there's the English version of it. So this software is used to make normal maps out of sprites that already exist. This would have helped me so much before when I wanted to make pixel art with normal maps. Yes, this is what you want. There's other software that does this too, and some of it might be better. I'm not really sure, but you can see he's got the preview of what the light would look like when it hits it, and then this is intensity, and that's like your brightness there or something. I'm not really, or probably like the shape of the cone of it. I don't know. I don't know what those words mean in Spanish. And then the color, obviously, is color. So yeah, you can literally throw in pixel art to this app, and it will make a normal map for you. However, animating that or like using tile maps with that and stuff like that can be a pain in engines because they're not usually made to do that. You kind of have to roll your own materials for pixel art when you do that, and that's kind of a pain in the butt. Because a lot of times pixel art just uses an unlit one. But yeah, I mean, you can see other people do this stuff. Like, this is a thing for sure. Though I'll be honest, now I kind of prefer pixel art with no shaders. Yeah, honestly, I really like unlit shaders for pixel art, but I also like the fake lighting. I don't know if you've ever seen that, where you fake lighting using a PNG, like a high-res PNG, and like gradients and stuff like that. It's great that no one dies. We'll do that. Yep. It'd be useful for when I do end up needing it. Yeah, I mean, there is some really cool games that have done really awesome work with pixel art and normal maps. I'm not sure if I can find one. No, unfortunately, there was this awesome blog, and unfortunately, it was on the Unity social media, which disappeared. Anyways, I can show you the game. So this was I thought this game was great. I mean, don't get me wrong. The game has some issues, and it's probably copyrighted music, so that's why I'm muting it. But you can see the normal maps and the lighting, and it's all 2D, but it's actually 3D. It's actually set up in a 3D space with an orthographic camera, and the lighting is all 3D dynamic lighting. The normal maps are all pixel art normal maps, and it looks fantastic. Oh, I've seen this. Yeah, I own this on Switch. I got it really cheap. It was like $1 or something like that. And don't get me wrong, the gameplay is lacking in some respects because it's only one level. It's just wave after wave of enemy. There's no like real differences except for each wave gets harder. I've probably only gotten to like wave 3. There's a boss, but the boss is the same every time. Gets a little bit harder every time. And it's fun, and it's worth $1 or whatever for sure. I had a lot of fun for the price of it, 100%. But I really wish that it was. Oh yeah, this came out a long time ago. I really wish that it was like a full-fledged thing with like a whole city and like exploration and all like a motorcycle, or all of that stuff, right? Because the art style is just fantastic. Yeah, it's only $5, not on sale. It goes on sale very cheap. Look at this, overwhelmingly positive, 2,658 reviews, recent reviews 10. It is a good game. I recommend it. However, if we look at the negative reviews, we'll see. It's diabolical to make a game with this level of visuals, OST, and then failing at the gameplay part. Pretty fun at the start with some challenges that will keep you at the edge. Then the game becomes less about skills and more about praying to the RNG goddess, so the next grunt after killing the boss will spawn close enough so I can kill them before losing my combo. It's quaint, but not sure it's for me. So repetitive. Yeah. After playing this a while longer, it's worse than I thought. Yeah. Anyways, like I said, it has its flaws, but for the price, it's actually, even at $4.99, it's still a decent price, right? I mean, you could wait for a sale and get it much cheaper, or go on istthereanydeal.com or whatever and find a deal, because it gets cheap. I think I bought it for $1 or $2 or something like that. Someone got sick. We don't have any way to cure them. Oof, that's a lot of bad reviews. Not really. If you saw, did you see how many reviews they had? Actually, that's actually not a lot of bad reviews. If we go back to it, 2,658, and they're at overwhelmingly positive. 95% of the reviews are positive. Yeah, no, I always do that. I always filter that to the bad reviews. That way we can figure out what's actually wrong. So there's only 125 negative out of 2,806. Oh, never mind. They have good reviews. Exactly. I just wanted to see. I always do this. I always go through and look at the negative ones. I don't really care about the positive reviews. I only care about the negative. And I do that for every game. For games that I like, for games that I don't like, for games that I'm trying to emulate, for games that I want to like steal mechanics from, for games that are similar to my own games. Anytime that I'm interested in a game, I always look at the negative reviews. For a few different reasons. Not only am I learning about what society thinks of games, I'm learning about how to manage my own expectations for when I release something and it gets negative reviews, right? And there's a whole bunch of other things that you can learn, just like random tidbits. Like, someone will say, this genre requires this, but this is not in this game. And then you're like, oh, I didn't think about that. I didn't know that people think that this genre requires this. For example, like shoot 'em ups. There is so much you can learn from negative reviews on shoot 'em ups, because shoot 'em up, the genre of shoot 'em up is crazy. People it's weird. It's like, and I don't mean to talk crap, but there's a lot of like elitists in the shoot 'em up genre that's all they play is shoot 'em ups, and they only like one particular type of shoot 'em up, and that is the type that they think is actually a shoot 'em up, and all the other ones are not actual shoot 'em ups, right? And then there's like Euro shmups, which are like, to most people, the worst type of shmup there is. It's like a negative term almost. But there are people that like shmups or Euro shmups, and there are Euro shmups that are beloved and you know, good. And if you made something like Tyrion, people would be like, oh, that's like Tyrion, that's good. But Tyrion is a Euro shmup, right? So yeah, it's a weird thing to try to make something in a genre. You kind of have to like look at all of these other games that did good and look at their negative reviews, look at the games that did bad, look at their negative reviews, and yeah, negative reviews are fantastic. Yeah, that's good for research. Absolutely, 100%. Couldn't have said it better myself. Anyways, I loved their art style in Akane, and the thing is that they did a fantastic blog post on exactly how they did that, but they posted it to the Unity social media site, which is no longer, it's defunct. So that blog that they made, which was awesome, is no longer available. Luckily, I took screenshots of it, but I think it's on this other computer, and I don't really want to look for it. And I only took screenshots of the images. I didn't take screenshots of all of the text because I didn't think that it would just disappear like that. Now I am actually looking for it. I said I don't want to, and then I did it, and then I'm doing it anyways. Reference images. And these are old files. Oh, I don't know if it's even on here. Anyways. I found screenshots of Akane, so I must be close, but that's not what I was looking for. Oh, and I found a bunch of references of normal spheres too, which is interesting. But yeah, I'm on a different computer, so I can't even share that on my on the one that we're looking at. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened to those screenshots. And what you gonna do? Anyways, it's autumn. We got one. Oh, we don't have enough food for people. We need food for people. Uh-oh. Alright, you... And wait, we need you to... We need people to do things. Alright. We don't need all of these seeds. We need berries. Get the berries going. And then you keep the seeds going. Oh, wait, we've got a whole lot of seeds. You get some more. Oh, get some more berries. More berries. No, we can write them an email. Oh, okay, that's good. My bad, LMAO. Yeah, no, I mean, it would be cool to get that information back, but I feel like they probably don't even have it either. They'd have to like rewrite it, you know? And it was like years and years ago now. Like that game came out forever ago. So they probably have moved on to other things, and they probably still know the skills, but like, would it be worth it for them to try to make the blog again and, you know, like all of that? So, all right. Get out of the water. Plant these seeds. We don't need you there. A wild dreadnought in chat. You don't own that ball. You're all out of Pokeballs. We need more food. Gotta buy a whole stack of them. Yeah, you just bought one Ultra Ball. You only buy 100 at a time. Or per message. This music took a turn. Not very autumn-like, but that's okay. It's grooving. Oh, we're running out of food. I think what we need is more harvesters. Or someone hunting chicken. Although we have no barbecue. We're out of food. What are you gonna do? Can't live forever. Uh-oh. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? It's gonna steal wood. And burn it. Add to the fire. The village loses 4 wood. I'm okay with that. We had a whole bunch of wood. That's what the fire is for. Uh-oh. It could have been way worse. People are starving, by the way. Animals are starving and people are starving. And this isn't being built. These aren't done. We're only getting 2 berries. 6 berries. Yes, for sure. Alright, Alright, now we've got a hunter's thing, at least. We can hunt these chickens. All the chickens are dead. We still don't have enough food. Well, what are you gonna do? Well, we got some tomatoes growing, so that's good. That sounded bad. Where are all of the people? This person's gone mad. Oh, that person's at the fire. We don't need you there. We need food. You're at the well. We don't need you there. We need food. It's funny because the old man doesn't do anything. He just like wanders around and yells at people. Says, we're all gonna die. At least we're not starving. Sounds like a vibe. I see doom on the horizon as well. Oh, he killed the chicken. Look at all that blood. Anyway, I'll go lurk now to eat dinner, which reminds me, it's quite late over there, I think. Actually, it's early. It's 6 a.m. here. But I'm actually getting pretty hungry myself, and I'm probably not going to go much longer here. I kind of want to watch everyone die at this point. But I want to thank you for hanging out all day with me, Taco. It's been a lot of fun. You definitely made the stream more interesting. It would have been pretty quiet without you, so I definitely appreciate you being here. But enjoy your dinner. Hope it's a good one. Oh, Lemlio, right, all right. If I ever don't make it till you raid out, thanks for the stream. Yeah, absolutely. And again, thank you. I appreciate you so much. Wait, no, we're not sure. We want to put these people to do something. Oh, go that one. There we go. Thanks for the chat and help me understand normals. Yeah, absolutely. Lurk, thanks for the lurk. Appreciate that. Poisonous water. Oh, we already figured that out. We're just sitting there doing nothing. Not enough seeds. This isn't gonna go well for us. Uh-oh, this can't be good. They're gonna kill themselves, aren't they? Distress. Oh, that's not so bad. I thought it was like a suicide pact. Overwhelming anger. They aren't happy. What part of Fight the Doom didn't you understand? Well, it could have been worse. I could have died. I think we are due for... Wait. What? It's something wrong, Elder? The apocalypse again? Can we go back home now, Elder? You clueless blockheads. I just saw the apocalypse. Another domain. We're halfway to the barbecue. It'd be nice because we have all of this raw chicken. What we really need is some seeds, though. Yep. So if we make another child, I don't know if that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. We need those barbecue points. Now we don't have them. They're eating the raw chicken. Well, maybe you shouldn't eat raw chicken. Got our barbecue. Now we need to build the dang thing. Oh wait, we don't want to do that. What is this? Oh, they're breaking. Wasn't paying attention. We really need seeds, but we really need food also. Alright, well, I'm getting pretty hungry here. I think it's about time to raid out. We got kind of carried away in this game. I don't know how to quit. Probably this. Let's see. I don't know what Folkways is. Oh, that must be the new thing. Alright, yeah, so we want to quit. Your story will be saved. Yeah. So that was fun. We got kind of carried away with it. Should probably save our work here. We didn't finish what we were doing, so we should make a note here. Otherwise I'll forget. And yeah. So we fixed this. That's the one thing we did do. And we started the boss fight, but we didn't finish it because it's a buggy mess. But yeah. Alright, so that's good. Where did the music go? Throw the music back on. Now there is someone that I'm watching who I think would be a good raid target. They are in an ad break at the moment though. So let's just prepare ourselves here. This shit's crazy. I don't know what this is, but it looks fun. Look at what I'm watching here. I don't think this is stream avatars. Whatever it is, looks pretty crazy. Anyways, there's that ad. So after the ad break, we're going to raid them. They don't have a mic, but they seem to be active in chat, so that's fine. I'm just gonna get set up here. So yeah, the raid message. And then Oh. I can't do anything. Raid channel, paste. Yeah, so we're ready for them to raid, although it's like a 2-minute ad break, so it'll be another minute, couple minutes here. I'm gonna make a note. Where is the froggy game? Pyrotoad. This was a bug that Johnny had just posted in chat, so in Discord. So want to make sure we don't forget about that. It's like 1 more minute on their ad break. Alright, looks like they've only got 30 seconds left. 18 seconds left. Alright, so we're gonna hit the button. And everyone, thank you so much. I very much appreciate that raid from Theo and Ari for guiding that raid. Indie Maniac for the raid as well. Cryptic for the resub. Always appreciate that. Emo Ace for the raid at the start of the stream. Three awesome raids, so I very much appreciate that. And yeah, Taco Crepe. Oh, Taco Crepe resubbed also. I didn't even see that. But yeah, thank you so much, Taco Crepe, for hanging out, chatting the whole time. I realize that you're eating dinner now, but that's okay. And yeah, it was a fun stream. Got a little bit carried away, but I kind of still needed a little bit of a break. And hey, the Steam Deck's working again, so that's nice. We played some Peak. It was fun. We got a little bit of work done, right? It wasn't a whole bunch, but it was a little bit. And then we also played a lot of Dot Age, which was fun. And it's a good game. We talked about a lot of random things. Yapped and chatted. But yeah. Anyways, I'm hungry. We're going to raid Helen Pixels. They're drawing a frog. And frogs are awesome. So let's get the raid message. Actually, I'm not even gonna use the raid message. I'm gonna use the frog emote. See you there.